Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and what we're going to do today is we're going to juice in the Slowstar vertical single auger juicer. At present time, I've been using the Slowstar juicer in the kitchen the most for juicing everything that I've been juicing, to just kind of check it out and see what it can and cannot do. In my original videos, I did a lot of vegetables in the Slowstar, and it worked really great. Actually, it did better than the Omega Vert juicer in a higher yield with juicing leafy greens and other vegetables, so be sure to check my past videos for that. But the question remains is, how does it do it fruit, John? Well, in general, I want to let you guys know that vertical single auger juicers and just horizontal single auger juicers are not that good at juicing fruit. They tend to mush the fruit up and not make a lot of juice. That being said, there are ways you can get these juicers to juice fruit, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. In general, if you want to juice a good portion of fruit, I recommend the vertical auger style juicer instead of the horizontal auger style juicer. The horizontal auger style juicer, while it's great at juicing leafy greens and gets a higher extraction of the leafy greens than the vertical augers tend to do a little bit better on the fruits. The reason why I'm using the Slowstar juicer today is because it runs at a low 47 RPMs, that's revolutions per minute. It's currently the lowest RPM juicer on the market at this point in time. The lower the RPM in general, that means the higher quality nutrition you're going to get when you extract the juice out of it. So it can be considered a slow juicer or a cold press juicer because no heat is being applied. Some juicers like the Breville juicer run at 10,000 plus RPMs. The faster the machine runs, the more oxygen that's introduced in the juice, which is going to break down the nutrients in the juice faster and lower them. So for this reason, I pretty much only use, the majority of the time, slow juicers when I'm creating any juice. That being said, you do need to be careful if you want to juice only fruits. Like watermelon does just great, but if you get a cantaloupe and it's kind of mushy and soft, it's going to mush up and make a really pulpy juice. So the Slowstar does include an additional strainer. Most other vertical single auger juicers do not. So if you don't want it pulpy, you can actually put the strainer right over the collection cup. So I like how you could do that, and everything that falls out of the juicer will go through the strainer before going into your glass. So this is really cool. The next thing I want to do is actually kind of take this apart and show you guys actually how it works specifically. So once we got the top part, it just kind of turns off, and then you're going to rotate this bottom part. It kind of comes up, then you could pull out the auger. This is the auger. This is the part that does all the magic in here. Basically what happens is this is a dual blade auger with two blades, so as you put a produce in, it's chopped off on this side and it goes down the auger. At the same time, or a few seconds afterwards, this side feeds in more and chops up produce even further. That being said, if you are juicing leafy greens or things like celery, I do recommend to chop it up into 1/8-inch pieces. So as the produce is crushed and compressed down into a smaller and smaller space, the juice is literally squeezed out, so literally it's cold pressing your juice. So the juice then comes out these holes here, which then floats out the front of the machine. And then you have this part here, this is the automatic wiping blade, which spins around, and this is going to keep your screen free and clear of debris, which means you're going to get a higher yield. So I like that a lot. Finally, we have the main juicing bowl. This is the BPA free juicing bowl, and on the bottom I want to point out there's a little plug here, and that you remove this plug to clean, so you can kind of get in there and clean. And then when you're using it, you always need to make sure you have this plug completely plugged in. What this plug does is it puts back pressure on the pulp to keep it in the juicer longer, to get it fully extracted and get it drier. So assembly is quite easy. There's a few different dots and markings you'll have to line up. We're just going to hold it, and then you're going to take this and just put it down, and the handle's towards the back, and then you're just going to slide it and lock it into place. Next, you're going to look for the white dot on top of the screen and the white dot on top of the juicing bowl, and just line those up. The screen will then lock down into place. Next, you're going to take the auger. The auger just drops right down in there, and you're going to want to seat the auger fully down in there. Then you're going to take the top. On the top, there's a little red dot that you can see there, and we're going to line up this red dot with the two white dots, and it drops into place, and then you're going to turn it, and it's going to line up with a white dot on the top of the juicing bowl. Now if you assemble this correctly, you'll be able to turn it on and it'll start up and run. And now you're ready to juice. So next I want to show you guys the tips for juicing fruits in the Slowstar juicer or any other vertical single auger machine. So your success when juicing fruits in any vertical or even horizontal single auger style juicer starts at the tree, or for many of you guys at the produce market or supermarket where you're buying your produce from, or like I bought these actually at a farm. So you want to get the produce that's nice, firm, and hard. I cannot stress this enough. If you get soft, old, mealy produce, then it's going to mush up instead of juice. The juicer, especially the vertical single auger style machines, need hard, fibrous produce to work properly. That's why carrots work fairly well. Now, if you do have apples and they are soft, I'd actually recommend using a centrifugal ejection style machine. Although they run at high speed, they deal a lot better with soft produce, although it still will kick out a lot of mush. So very critical to get nice, hard, firm produce. When selecting apples, you press it, and if your finger could dent in and bruise the apple, that's not a good apple to be juicing. In general, I recommend juicing the Granny Smith apples. They retain a much better texture for a longer period of time than some of the other varieties that can get soft and mealy on you. Also be aware, you know, currently it's about apple season. They just got done harvesting, depending on where you live, and the apples are quite fresh. Come, 6 months from now, you'll be buying apples that were harvested this year, and then they get more softer. So as time goes on, as they've been in cold storage, they'll get softer, and then, around February, March, April, you'll see, oh man, my juicer's not performing well on apples, it's making them more mush. That's because the apples are older. So I always want to encourage you guys to get the freshest, highest quality produce possible. Now, what we're going to juice today are these guys. You might be thinking, John, those aren't apples, but they kind of look like it. Well, what these guys are actually called apple pears or Asian pears. So these ones are kind of a cross between an apple and a pear. They're absolutely delicious. I particularly like to juice fruits when they're not all that sweet. These fruits don't brix out that high, and I just don't enjoy eating them when they're hard and not so sweet. So what I like to do is I like to steal the liquid or the juice out of it, remove the fiber, which will then make it taste really delicious. So that's what we're going to do today. So besides picking the nice, hard, firm fruit, you're going to want to cut it properly. So we got a little knife here, and we're just going to cut this into little pieces that could fit inside the machine. Another thing that's very important is you're going to want to remove the stem. So do not put stems through the juicer. You can put the seeds through the machine. Some people might say, John, I heard that apple seeds and pear seeds contain cyanide, and yes, they do. And now I wouldn't just juice solid seeds, but a few seeds with your apple or pear, I feel all right with it. And it's also a pain to dig them out. So that's how I feel. Any case, we're just going to go ahead and cut up some of these pears, and we're going to get juicing. Alright, so I'm just about to cut up the last pear. We just got all these guys cut up. We're just kind of cutting it into smaller pieces. The smaller pieces are going to feed definitely better into the juicer. If you do cut into large pieces, then you may need to use the pusher. I definitely encourage you guys not to use the pusher with any vertical single auger juicer. You want to just let the juicer accept things and feed in at its proper and slow rate. If you're feeding things in, you might be pushing things in too fast, which will cause the juicer to back up and not work properly. So with that, let's go ahead and turn the machine on and just take one piece of the Asian pears and put it in. As you guys can see, I put that in, and instantly we're getting some juice out the front of the machine. And over on this side, we're starting to get a little bit of pulp. So we can do this at a nice, fairly fast rate, working really well. And here's the pulp coming out. Now, don't be alarmed when you start to juice. There will be a little bit of juice seepage out of where the pulp comes out. This is absolutely normal. As you can see here, the pulp is coming out, and it's probably about filling 3/4, maybe almost the full stream of the ejection port. If I put my hand over here to catch some of this pulp, I want to see actually how dry it is actually. So this pulp is actually quite dry. If I squeeze it, I could barely squeeze any juice out. It's doing quite a good job here in the Asian pears. Once again, texture is critical. These are nice, hard, firm Asian pears. So we could really start to crank up feeding these guys pretty quick into the machine. You know, I like this a lot. I'm not having to use the pusher. If I was more efficient, I could actually be putting one pair in, chop another one, take a piece off, put it in, instead of pre-chopping them all, you know, in the beginning like I did. As you guys can see, the strainer is catching a lot of the juice, and you know, we're getting a kind of a backup here. So I kind of like to tap this down a little bit, and what you can see there is actually we do have a fair bit of pulp that is being caught by the strainer there. Now, the pulp is not a problem. Some people could just juice that without the strainer and drink the pulp and all, and this is your total preference. Actually, if you're storing the juice, I would recommend keeping the pulp in it. There's properties in the pulp that'll help keep the juicer fresher longer. That being said, I don't recommend storing any juice, no matter what juicer you made, more than 24 hours. In 99% of the time, I actually drink my juices right after I make it, and that's what I recommend for highest and best results for you as well. Alright, so we're just tapping this guy down and getting all the juice to go through. We got a nice little pulp ball here. And the cool thing about this pulp ball is, man, this is like the best applesauce if you're doing apples, but this is actually apple pear sauce or Asian pear sauce you ever made. Nice smooth texture. Really good. You still got some juice in there, so you got some sweetness. Broken down so well, and this is raw. And if you make this stuff, you're going to definitely want to eat this stuff really soon after it's made, because it will turn brown quite quick on you. You might want to maybe add a little lemon in there, help preserve it and keep it from browning. Wow. Alright, so we're continuing to juice the Asian pears in the Slowstar juicer. Looks like it's doing a great job. The pulp's coming out. Now, if you are having challenges and, you know, pulp is not flowing out when you're juicing fruits in the Slowstar, I would recommend alternating like fruits with a carrot. So juice a piece of fruit and then put a piece of carrot in. The carrot will give the hard fiber that the juicer needs to push that pulp all the way through. The other thing that's very important, like I mentioned earlier, is not to use the pusher. You do not want to feed things in too fast. You want to let the juicer run in its own pace. As you guys can see, it's doing a great job. The pulp quart is maybe only coming out 50% because 50% of it is blocked at this time. That's completely normal and it's alright. Looks like it's almost done juicing. We got quite a bit of pulp here caught in our strainer. We're just going to go ahead and turn the machine off, and we're going to shake some of this pulp down and get every last bit of juice. Alright, I think we got all the juice out the pulp there. Let's go ahead and set it over to this side. And now we're going to get to enjoy some delicious Asian pear juice. Got the special cup here. Alright, let's pour it right in. Look at that nice, fine consistency. Man, this is going to be some of the best stuff. Now, if you're wondering, man, John, that looks like that apple juice that I used to buy in the store that's like unfiltered. Yes, this is totally unfiltered. Has lots of nutrients still in there. Really good for you. And, you know, while I could just drink this straight up and like it a lot, we're going to take it one step further. We're going to add some sparkling Italian mineral water. And this will actually add some fizz in there for you. So this is like the sparkling apple cider or sparkling apple pear cider. You guys can see it's bubbling up now. You don't want to add too much and dilute it too much because then it won't be quite as sweet. Just a little bit will do it. Go ahead, try it. L'chaim, to your health. Wow, that was the best Asian pear juice I've ever made with the Slowstar juicer. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode learning about how you can make your own fresh fruit juices with the Slowstar juicer. Once again, remember, with the Slowstar or any vertical auger juicer, you want to get the nice, hardest, firmest fruits for best results. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and it's always fun when I get to announce and share with you guys a new juicer that's now available on the market. So what we're going to do today is we're going to introduce the all